And when I first saw that there was a documentary called The Posterist, it got my attention right away. And in fact, on Facebook, I was befriended by the poster collector in this because he found out that I had posters that he wanted. Okay, we're a very particular kind of person. And so I was kind of following this documentary, seeing where it went, and I was able to go to Hong Kong in April, and I managed to see it there. And I fell in love with it because it was such an intimate, beautiful documentary about an artist that I knew nothing of aside from the power of his work. I'd like to bring to the stage the director of The Posterist, Hui See-Wai. How are you? And while I was in Hong Kong, I mean, this documentary had been out for a while and had been kind of touring around, but there was still like a kind of a craze and popularity for his work. He was doing a lecture at an art mall in Hong Kong, and he was just still current. It wasn't like it was kind of like a quick hit. He was still current, and to this day, he is very prolific on Facebook. And I follow, I'm now friends with him on Facebook, and you can follow all of the things he's doing and all of the journeys, and it's almost like kind of it's like a second career, like a resurgence or a renaissance for him. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, thanks, Colin, for inviting me. My name is See-Wai, the director of the movie. Yeah, in fact, you're right. Mr. Yuen, my hero, a superhero, for me, and we've become friends recently. In fact, you said you're right. He's back in the spotlight, especially when earlier this year the Hong Kong Film Academy decided to give him an award, the Professional Achievement Award for his lifetime contribution to cinema and the arts. So he's busy. He's just completed a few new work for some new film that I can't say right now. But Mr. Yuen knows I'm here. He sends his regards. Hello to everybody. He wishes he can be here, but he's afraid of the 16 hours flight to Toronto. So that's why just me. Sorry, but he sends his regards.
And can you talk about the origin of this film? Because I mean, I don't think you ever intended this to go as far and have as many people see this film as when you first started out. Can you talk about the inspiration for it?
Well, yeah, I guess when I was a kid, I used to go to the cinemas near my home. As some of you know, I have a home near here, up in Yorkville area, and there was this cinema there. I used to go there all the time after school. I would always arrive early before the show, and spend minutes, if not hours, staring at the posters. Totally captivated by movie posters, I think I can recall some of Mr. Yuen's work from my home, because we don't own posters at home. Nobody owns them because posters were so big. They only exist in the cinema. But at home, we have these soundtrack albums from Sam Hui. So at home, I have some recollection of seeing these images of The Private Eyes, Bun Gan Ba Lang, Mai San Kai, The Contract, etc. But then during high school, during junior high school, I remember I bought some of his comic books. Obviously, for the cover, everybody falls in love with the cover, but without knowing who the creator was. So it was not until recently, actually a few months before I started this project, that I realized that Mr. Yuen is so amazing, and that he has made so much impact on my family. So then I want to make sure my family knows this untold story. I want to make sure my daughter knows this, my sister, my cousins, everybody in my family treat Mr. Yuen the utmost respect. And that's how it started.
So I think you're probably gonna win an Oscar for best home movie.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, what was it like when you first met him? Like, was it really hard for you to be able to secure him to be on camera? Was he nervous or shy?
As in the film you just saw, it seemed easy, but in fact, the tracking of him, the searching took about half a year. I tried to search for him on the air through my dad, but obviously my dad have no connection with him whatsoever. So I asked some of my uncles, the more connected uncles like Zhang Jiwei or Chen Yanjin, Philip Chan, Eric Zhang. They don't even know where even them they didn't even know where Mr. Yuen was. So he was a man of mystery. So I was very surprised to be able to find him on Facebook, that he has an account, because he's 76 years old and he has a Facebook account. He's very active. He's got 4,000 friends. So I sent him a friend request with obviously no reply. So I dropped the idea, but then after a month, I think the movie poster collector hooked me up with him. So I set up this meeting. So it was already like half a year went by, and then I was so nervous before meeting the man, because in my mind, these artists are usually very temperamental. They're usually crazy people, and his nickname in Hong Kong was the Godfather of movie posters. So by Godfather, I would imagine he
not intimidating at all.
He kill people, or yeah. So very nervous. But the minute I met Mr. Yuen, he pulled out from his backpack an old photograph he kept, obviously, for 40 years. It was an old photograph of him and my dad during one of the early meetings. Actually, it was probably the only meeting. It was taken 40 years ago. He's kept it. So I immediately, I think I was relieved. I think he's very friendly, approachable, and he remembers the past. And so we become friends thereafter. So I asked him a lot of questions about each of the poster. There are stories behind each one of them, very intriguing. So I said, wait a minute, let me pull out my phone, my camera. I just want to record it because I think my daughter should know this story. And then Mr. Yuen said, yeah, he wanted to record it as well because he wants his daughter to know the story as well. Yeah, obviously, he didn't. Obviously, his son or daughter didn't know that their father was so great. So the project started, and we went from there. And now, after 1 year, it led me to here, to Toronto. It's so amazing, unbelievable.
It was on Facebook. I promoted and mentioned that I was doing the Q&A for the screening, and he liked the event. He liked it. I was like, yes. So he knows about us. And it was funny because when I saw the film in Hong Kong, as soon as the Q&A started, I pulled out my phone, and I'm this obsessive that I have photos of all my poster collection on my phone. And I just started kind of scrolling through it, and like suddenly seeing all the stuff in the movie, I realized I had like 40 pieces by him. And they're all, he's just very, very versatile. Do we have any questions from the audience here? Yes. There's a microphone for you coming. It'll be on in 1 second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hello. thank you for making such a great movie that make the story of Mr. Yuen known. Well, I enjoy it very much. Well, I found that actually the story of Mr. Yuen in this film was told from several perspectives. The perspectives from the professional illustrator, from the industrial practitioners, and also from Mr. Yuen himself, that he narrates his experiences. But I found that there is one perspective which is lacking, that is the perspective from the audience. So I find it actually quite interesting, because movie poster is for publicity. This form of art actually is to address the mass, but it seems that there are not much in your film that have mentioned about the opinions from the mass or from the audiences. So can you explain a little bit more about your choice of the perspectives? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. You're right. As you know, I have no experience in filmmaking. I've never done anything like this, and I have no connection with the industry, no budget. So I just kind of do things as things go along, and whoever I was able to find, then I'll film it. I try to interview people as broad as possible. I find, for example, Kenny B, the actors that he's draw for, and some of them they were colleagues of him, his boss from Cinema City, his boss from J Comics, David K, and I think what's the name? There's the other comic artist by the name of Deng Dat Hin. Back then he was very junior, and he was kind of like his fan. So his point of view, I sort of treated it as a point of view from the mass, from the audience. But obviously that's not enough. So yeah, I will try to put that in later on in the bonus material from the DVD. Yeah. But yeah, making the film, the process was not easy. I have to learn a lot of stuff along the way, and getting these different people to contribute was not easy. So I spent a lot of time trying to persuade people to support this project, and I was very lucky to have this lineup. So yeah, I'll try to do better next time. Yeah.
You did a really good job, because I mean, as you know, when you're working with no budget, to have, or like very little budget, to have access to clips, and like you just can't pay the amount of money for film rights. But luckily, you have all of his great artwork, and so that really lets it kind of speak for itself.
I only have money to pay for one film. That's Security Unlimited, Modern Bobio, so there's only one film clip in this documentary. And the rest there, movie poster images, which the copyright ownership was not clear. So I was able to take advantage of it.
Do we have anyone else who's got a question here? In the back there. There's a microphone coming. Yep. 1 second. In the red sweater, yep. There, we got someone with a microphone, right? Oh, no, actually, maybe not. All right, speak loudly. You can.
Congrats. That was a really great film and a wonderful topic for the film, too. I really enjoyed it. I'm really curious about how Yuen Tai-yung, the artist, worked with the actors who requested him to make posters for films over the years, whether they gave him full creative license to make the posters, or whether or not they gave him any kind of input when he was illustrating the posters for the film.
Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, I try to answer that for him. Obviously, I was not in the industry, but I know that he works like this. First of all, the actors are usually not involved in the movie poster creation process. So they're usually the actors only do the job, their acting job during the principal shooting. Then afterwards, after the editing, after the post-production work, the whole film would go to the marketing department, where they will they will begin to think about the posters. So it's like usually the poster design, poster making was very end of the process. And it's usually they've got very little time to come up with these ideas and come up with the visual. So Mr. Yuen will typically be given some stills, photographs from the movie. He'll be given maybe hundreds of them to choose from. When they shoot the movie, they took pictures and they pass it to Mr. Yuen. Mr. Yuen's genius was to be able to digest all those still images, and magically he could capture the essence of the film and make it into one image. All right, so that's some magic that I can explain. He cannot explain. I don't know. Can you explain?
You can see that, like, there's where he's at the end. He's doing the picture. I believe it's of your dad, and he's looking at it on his camera, but he's just focusing on one little aspect of that photo, and then bringing everything else in kind of a different kind of depth.
In fact, for that particular work, I understand his process. That reference photo that he was looking at is actually not the same as his finished product. So he was just taking one part of that image and combining it with some other images, some from his head. I don't know where it's from. So it created something completely new and original, and it's humorous. It's I don't know. It's so lovable, instantly recognizable. It's magic.
He's just able to kind of capture the essence. You can see that there's, I'm not sure if it was in the documentary, I might have seen it online, where you can actually see Jackie Chan age from like 1978 all the way till around 1990, because he did every one of those posters.
Probably, yeah.
Anyways, well, we have to wrap this up, but it's been a great pleasure.
Thank you.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.